What's up, Mr. Green? How you doing? Really staring me down with this one. This is not normal.
Good morning, Hank. It's Tuesday. I need a bit of encouragement at the moment, so let me tell you the most encouraging fact I know.
Oh, hold on. He needs encouragement. I get enough of that with you guys.
So I graduated from high school in 1995, before most of our viewers were born. That is not the encouraging fact. That's actually quite distressing. But anyway, in 1995, over 11 million children died before the age of 5. Last year, fewer than 5 million children died before the age of 5. Since I graduated from high school, overall global child mortality has fallen by well over 50%. Now, it's still far too high. We could reduce it by another 50% with existing technology if we really wanted to. That's actually one of the most discouraging facts I know, is that we could choose to live in a much better world than we're currently choosing, but this is not about being discouraged. Anyway, this progress, which I will argue was not natural or normal or inevitable, represents, I think, the greatest success in human history. We can also understand this as the likelihood of a child dying. In 1800, in the United States, about 46% of all people born died before the age of 5. That's similar to what the rate had been 500 or 5,000 or 50,000
We're bearing the lead for a while here. I don't have anything to say about this yet.
years earlier. 40 years later, by 1840, it had only gone down to 43%. Extremely slow progress. Progress continued throughout the 19th century, albeit slowly thanks to better sanitation, emerging understanding of the germ theory of disease, and so on. But then, in the 20th century, things changed dramatically. In the 40 years between 1920 and 1960, your chances of dying under the age of 5 went from 18% to 3%. And a lot of things had to go right for that to happen. Better pharmaceutical interventions like insulin and antibiotics, safer surgery, lower rates of absolute poverty and malnutrition, lower rates of tuberculosis.
Is this video about how you can't take progress for granted and you have to actively defend it because, you know, there are a lot of good things that have happened that we've forgotten about the benefits of? And because we stop, you know, proselytizing those benefits, people no longer think they're valuable. This reminds me of the take that I've been having lately, that you have to be really aggressive and active about the things you do like and do care about, because if you don't defend them, you know, the people who want to take them away will be loud, you know?
And so on. But whether we're talking about the US or globally, none of this happened naturally. It is not natural for the world population to become less hungry or less sick. Our species is around 300,000 years old, and for way over 99% of that time, no meaningful progress was made when it comes to child mortality. None. About 120 billion modern humans have ever lived, and most never saw the age of 20. If you are born in the United States now, you have a 99.1% chance of living to the age of 20. After 300,000 years of not being able to get half of people to adulthood, we now know how to get 99% of people there. Now, there's nothing simple about how we reduce child mortality by more than half since I graduated from high school. Some of it is because absolute poverty declined dramatically. In 1995, about 36% of people lived in absolute poverty. Today, about 10% do. And that means people overall are less hungry, which decreases direct deaths from malnutrition, but also decreases the deaths that come from the weakened immune system that accompanies malnutrition. Also, safer circumstances in which to give birth have decreased both maternal and infant mortality. Some small part of the story can be attributed to nonprofit organizations that fund stronger healthcare systems. But one of the central reasons—
Wait, get it, bro? What's the point? His main point comes at the end. Well, the end is a bad place to put the main point from, like, a React perspective, you know?
We've seen child mortality go down so much since 1995 is government-funded interventions, including those funded— No, it's not guaranteed, because which makes the infection much more likely to be fatal, but also means there's more—
Does any of this matter when climate change will reverse 99% of these advancements? Yes, you actual retard. What are you talking about? If someone came and hit you with a baseball bat, like, oh, in 20 years, the sea levels will be 5 centimeters high. Fucking moron. Stupid shit.
Drug-resistant tuberculosis circulating. That's a threat to everyone, because again, this progress we've had is not inevitable.
Yeah, there's not much to talk about here. It's just right. Sorry, I thought this would be about, like, another point. Obviously, you have to work to make things better. But the problem is that, like, and this is the thing that I think, and I think, obviously, like, everyone likes Sean Green. I'm not speaking against that at all. But I think the thing that people have difficulty with, like, it's very easy to stand up and to go, like, I think good things are good. It's hard to stand up and say, I have an effective strategy for the promotion of good things. You know? Everything is getting worse right now, really, really, really quickly, and liberals need to understand why that's the case. And it's not just people getting mean, and it's not just... Because a lot of them just throw their hands up in the air, and they're like, you know, oh, okay, well, I guess people just like Trump because people are mean, America sucks, or whatever. But it's a failure of analysis. People need to have a good understanding of why these things are happening in order to prevent it. Good things are good. Many people are saying this. I'm saying this. No one listens to me. Speaking of TB, tuberculosis outbreak in Kansas... The largest ever reported outbreak of tuberculosis in the United States. I didn't realize it was that, much. Well, how many? So far, 67 active tuberculosis infections have been reported in the Kansas City area as of January 24th. An additional 79 people in the metro area have been reported to have latent infection of tuberculosis since 2024. That's great. So more active cases rather than latent cases. Gotcha. So I assume this is just because of anti-vaxxers? Yep. Nationally, cases of tuberculosis have been on the rise since the COVID-19 pandemic, according to the CDC, with the number of reported cases increasing each year from 2020 to 2023. Prior to the pandemic, the number of TB cases had declined nearly every year since 1992. Wow. Okay. Well, that's cool. Well, so I assume Americans aren't vaccinated against tuberculosis. This is not anti-vax. Well, then why would it be on the rise after COVID-19? If anything, you'd think COVID-19 would reduce the rates just because people aren't spreading anything as much anymore. The same way that, like, incidence rates of the cold went down. If it's not a vaccine thing, what would lead to the increase now? COVID weakens the immune system, I imagine? Ah, that's a good explanation. That makes sense. People with more long-term immune issues. It's a bacterial infection, no? What am I, a fucking doctor? Well, I doubt this is going to become a new pandemic. You know, we're still kind of waiting on that H5N1 thing to pop off, aren't we? That's the one I've got my money riding on. Catch me out here in the poly market, dumping a third of my life savings into, you know, actuarial tables.